I am Charger Dude 95, and I am doing something that very, very, very few people have ever done. Simulate an entire 256-game regular season of the greatest dynasties in NFL history. We're determining the best dynasty of all time, and we begin with a wild card matchup between the Chiefs and the Colts. These are two legendary offenses and not very good defenses, of course, with Patrick Mahomes and Peyton Manning. However, Mahomes joins Mitchell Schwartz at right tackle and Kelechi Osemele at left guard as two critical offensive players and superstars out for this wild card game. Indianapolis is dealing with some offensive injuries themselves. Wide receiver Pierre Garçon is out, along with their top two nose guards in Keontae Dawson and Monte Rieger. The wild card playoffs of the DSFL 6 begins with the Chiefs and the Colts. Peyton Manning led the league in touchdown passes in the regular season with 25. And Peyton Manning would throw another 3 touchdown passes here to close the first half. This against one of the worst defenses for a dynasty ever. Marcus Peters, what are you doing? He dives right out of the way, and Reggie Wayne goes the distance and scores to give the Colts the lead. Alex Smith played well in his 2 starts in the regular season. It should be noted Patrick Mahomes led the league in passing before he went down with a broken collarbone in Week 15. Hill grabs the touchdown, and then Alex Smith comes out firing to begin the third quarter. The 2020 Comeback Player of the Year leads the way for the go-ahead touchdown. And look at this dance. Anthony Sherman. I mean, is that the salsa? I don't know what that is. Anyways, to close the third quarter, the Chiefs come out firing yet again. Travis Kelce. What a day. 7 receptions for 111 yards against this Colts defense, which isn't a whole lot better than the Chiefs defense. And we saw it here from Indianapolis. Smith goes deep, and Hill is at the receiving end of a 30-yard touchdown. 2 TD grabs in the game for Hill, and Kansas City comes all the way back. They have scored 24 unanswered points. Breeland records the sack, and the Colts were just terrible on third downs since the first half. But they do convert here with Edgerrin James. This is his 8th of 10 receptions for 110 yards and a touchdown. Excellent performance in the receiving game for the Hall of Fame tailback out of Miami. Joseph Adai picks up another Colts first down. And Indianapolis marches all the way into the red zone, and Brian Fletcher will be stopped a yard away. So now the Colts can't win the game with another touchdown. They would only force overtime. Reggie Wayne, what a performance for him in the game and that incredible touchdown. Colts only have a field goal since that TD grab. Manning goes to Wayne here, and that's knocked away. So the Colts, they've got to run the ball to try and convert here. They don't just do that, but draw a face mask at the tail end of it. So the Colts are already across midfield. Worst decision of the day right here. Manning keeps rolling backwards. It is a sack of 21 yards for Dontari Poe. 3rd and 25. Manning is picked off by Eric Berry, the comeback player of the year in the NFL a few seasons ago, makes the grab, and the 2010's Kansas City Chiefs have defeated the Colts and will play the Patriots in the divisional round next weekend. What a comeback. 14-0, the Colts led the game. Peyton Manning was spectacular, but Smith outplayed him, especially in the second half, to defeat Indianapolis in their building in the wild card round. Sensational win for the Chiefs. The dynasty of the 1990s Broncos also didn't have a very good defense, but the Steelers did. The fewest points allowed in the league this year was by the Steel Curtain, that dynasty that won 4 Super Bowls in a 6-year span. So there'll be a tough match for the Broncos. Pittsburgh's first win of the season was in Week 2 against these Broncos, 31-13. Mark Schlereth, that right guard, has broken ribs and is out for the entire playoffs. Steelers are completely healthy. It's Denver and Pittsburgh. Winner moves on to the divisional playoffs. The Steelers' offense had a sensational first half. Terry Bradshaw finds Benny Cunningham, and the tight end from Clemson has his longest grab of the season, 47 yards to cap the opening drive of the game. And at the half, The Steelers would lead the Broncos 10-3, and very rarely do you see a team like Pittsburgh have 174 passing yards and a half. John Elway and the Broncos, despite the deficit, would find some third down magic. 3rd and 18 conversion for Terrell Davis, and on 3rd and 16, another Hall of Famer in the receiving game, Shannon Sharp, converts with a gain of 30 and a first down for Denver. But on 3rd and 11, the Broncos would finally be stopped, open field tackle by Mel Blunt. So the Broncos settle for a field goal, and the Steelers, meanwhile, convert a red zone drive with this Bradshaw touchdown to Frank Lewis of 19 yards. Then after another Bronco field goal from Jason Elam, 84 yards to John Stallworth to win the game. The Steelers receiver, Hall of Famer from Alabama A&M, was spectacular. 6 for 166 and a score. And the 1970s Pittsburgh Steelers are moving on. Winner of this game will visit the 70s Steelers in the divisional round, and Oakland in Week 16 beat the Miami Dolphins in Las Vegas 20-19 in a comeback nail-biting win just 14 days ago. The 70s Dolphins, 3rd-ranked offense in the DSFL 6. Without too many great playmakers, this was a bit surprising just how great they were on the offensive end in the regular season. Both guards for the Dolphins are out. Larry Little, a Hall of Famer, and Bob Kuechenberg with a torn labrum. Gene Upshaw, also a Hall of Famer, dislocates his elbow and was a game-time decision, but is out for the wild card round. These two teams, the 70s Dolphins and the 70s Raiders, met in so many important playoff games, and this would be pretty important in the DSFL too. Greasy gets sacked by Hendricks, and this injury puts him out for the playoffs. Greasy broke his collarbone in Week 5 and missed over a month, and Greasy is out for the remainder of this postseason, so Earl Morrall takes his place. Van Egan, fumble, and Dick Anderson returns for a touchdown, with the Dolphins settling for so many field goals. This was pretty darn important for Miami, now up 15-3 with a failed 2-point conversion. Earl Morrall on 3rd down, he loses the ball, forced by Matizak, and Hendricks brings it back for a touchdown. Ted Hendricks had an absolutely ridiculous stat line that I'll show you at the end of this game. 2nd and 22, no problem for Larry Zonka. A gain of 31 for the Dolphins fullback, and that leads the way for a Miami field goal. Stabler wills the Raiders downfield and finds Bob Moore for his 4th touchdown grab, and the Raiders are down just 2, so the scoreboard says go for the tie, but Manny Fernandez shuts down the tie. The no-name defense of the 70s Dolphins still in front by 2. Dolphins can win the game on the offensive end. This pass from Earl Morrall, first down. He finished the day, as that stat line suggests, 10 for 10 in completions. An absolutely incredible day for the backup quarterback. 3rd and 1, the Raiders somehow make the stop, so Oakland gets the ball back. And Ken Stabler, with 7 sacks given up by that defense, is pushed way behind the chains. Final play of the game for Oakland. Stabler goes deep. It's a catch, but not quite a touchdown. The 70s Raiders, with their worst offensive performance since Week 9, they finished with under 200 yards. 5 tackles, 1 for loss, 3.5 sacks, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown. That sounds pretty good. Ted Hendricks, great, but not great enough as the Dolphins are moving on. As you look at the numbers of this NFC wildcard game, both teams on the 3rd ticker are top 9 of the league in scoring defense, but what was the most surprising performance of the regular season was at the right side, the 80s 49ers, 17th in offense. With all of their great players, 17th just made no sense to me. Bobby Wagner, huge loss. Tores his labrum and is out for the next 2 games if Seattle is to advance. Meanwhile, the 49ers are out one of their star linebackers too, and Charles Haley, Heath Fawnhorst, and Wendell Tyler out for this wild card game. San Francisco swept Seattle in the regular season, and they meet for the 3rd time. Winner advances to the divisional round. John Taylor, the Pro Bowler from Delaware State, with a circus catch, an absolutely ridiculous effort over Sherman for a gain of 55. Just incredible. Taylor finished the day with 8 receptions for 161 yards. 9-3 in the third quarter. Browner, fumble, recovered by KJ Wright, the NFC Defensive Player of the Week, and he scores. Roger Craig is in, and the Niners converted 2-pointers. So in the fourth quarter, it's 17-10 San Francisco. Wilson and the offense were not very good in the red zone. They had to be here in the fourth quarter, and Wilson somehow, someway, gets just enough for a first down. Then on 3rd and goal, Wilson runs and throws to the tight end for the touchdown. 1:36 to go in the fourth quarter, and Graham is in. 49ers could not punch it in time, so we go to OT, tied at 17. Wilson back, he throws, and the final pass for Russell Wilson of the season is intercepted. Tim McGuire had no picks in the regular year, 2 in this wild card game, and Koper walks it off. Heartbreak for Seattle as the 80s 49ers win it in overtime. They have beaten the Seahawks all by 1 possession now, 3 straight times in Season 6. And that's to end the year for the Seahawks. Joe Montana wasn't great in the game, no touchdowns, 1 interception, but he was just good enough to beat Seattle 20-17 in overtime. As we take a look at the numbers here, the 1950s Detroit Lions, the dynasty that won 3 world championships, were a pretty solid defense, and offensively, well, we have seen better teams. Meanwhile, the 10 Saints, the winner of 1 Super Bowl crown in their dynasty and nearly made a couple others, their offense was spectacular. Their defense certainly played better than advertised in the regular season. Hall of Famer Doak Walker is out for this game and will be back if the Lions are to win. Meanwhile, the Saints will miss Jimmy Graham for the next 3 games. The tight end has a ruptured disc. The Saints beat the Lions in Week 4 of the season, and 50s Detroit takes on 10s New Orleans for the wild card round. Backup runner Bob Horschenmeyer gives the Lions the early second quarter lead, but we go into the half tied at 7 with this Drew Brees touchdown pass to All-Pro receiver Marcus Colston. Into the fourth quarter now, we are tied at 10. This game was so good. The DSFL 6 wild card round game of the week. John Henry Johnson, the league leader in receptions with 93, wouldn't go down. And that leads the way for a Bobby Lane touchdown pass, first on the day to Cloyce Box, and Detroit takes the lead. The Pro Bowler from Louisiana Tech in the end zone. After Pierre Thomas converts, a holding penalty backs up the Saints. 4th and 10, they'll go for it again. And Lance Moore converts for the Saints with a huge play of 23 yards. And then Drew Brees, the league leader in passing for the regular season, on 1st and goal, gutsy drive. Brees converts. Touchdown to Reggie Bush. His only offensive touch of the game is as a wide receiver, and that ties us. We are going to overtime. Or are we? Lions are giving it a chance. Here with 30 seconds, they won't go for the quarterback kneel. Ollie Klein with the first down. Timeout. Just 16 seconds to go in the game. Jim Martin, their kicker, has made a long of 53 this year. Lane goes deep. Dave Middleton makes the grab, and Dave Middleton is in the end zone. The Lions with 8 seconds to go in the game, 63 yards. The Saints defense was spectacular all year and in this game, and then they fall apart with Sharper and Harper burned downfield. 24-17, 4 seconds left. Brees gives it all he got on the final play of regulation, and it is incomplete. The 1950s Detroit Lions, in their first ever DSFL playoff game, they survive a thriller and the game of the week to beat the 10s Saints. And the 50s Lions, led by Bobby Lane and receiver Dave Middleton, are moving on to the divisional round to visit the juggernaut number 1 seed 90s Cowboys. It's Lions at Cowboys next week. The greatest show on turf, the 2000s Rams dynasty, were 2nd in offense and 4th in scoring of the DSFL 6 regular season. 4th in scoring defense was Vince Lombardi's dynasty of the 1960s Packers, the 4-time champion dynasty. That defense was incredible. Ricky Prohl fractured his foot, so he will miss this game for the 2000s St. Louis Rams. Meanwhile, the Packers have no injuries, so there really is no injury excuses for the first and only meeting of the season between the Rams and the Packers. St. Louis has lost 3 of their last 6 games and give up the run of the day. Paul Hornung, the Golden Boy, 35-yard touchdown scramble. The 60s Packers on a 4-game winning streak. They have hit their stride, and Hornung is a big reason why he is back and healthy in favor of Jim Taylor, and he gives the Packers the lead. But this is what makes the Rams such an incredible dynasty. That offense is not out of any game. Isaac Bruce and the Rams lead 13-7 into the third quarter, but this offense couldn't seem to manufacture third down conversions in the first 3 quarters of the game, and Starr and the Packers late in the third would respond. A gain of 22 on the throw from Starr, and from 43, Hornung is in the end zone again with no flags. Incredible performance today from Paul Hornung in what looks like a nice day, but it was just above freezing from Lambeau Field. 3rd down and 10, and they're stopped yet again. Paul Hornung, 3rd run of over 20 yards on the day. Luckily for the Rams, Adam Archuleta was there to save a touchdown. Packers settle for a field goal. Falk to the 30. Fumble. And Robinson recovers for the Packers. 1 of 2 recoveries on the day for the Hall of Fame linebacker. And this, that's a pretty good grab, right? Over the top of Fletcher. Ron Kramer, the tight end, with the touchdown. And then the 60s Green Bay Packers, who were down by 6 at the half, put the game away. Keeneland forces the fumble, and Robinson recovers for a touchdown. The 60s Packers, it was a pretty bad start to the year. 1-3, that defense was bad. The offense was even worse. But Green Bay, just as in this game, they hit their stride at the most important time, winners of 10 of their last 13. Dick Vermeil and the 2000s Rams, they were the first team to clinch the playoffs, but led by Paul Hornung and Bill Keeneland, the Rams are one and done in the postseason. This is a team that loses 4 of their last 7 for the playoffs to end. Frustrating finish of the season. St. Louis in the wild card round has 12 yards rushing against this incredible Packers defense. Here's a look at all of the wild card scores. Game of the week was the Dave Middleton touchdown grab game and the wild card round Lions and Saints. Detroit 24, New Orleans 17. Here's a look at the great performances from Wild Card Weekend. At the top left, the player of the week was the running back out of Green Bay, Paul Hornung. 9 yards a carry. If they were to hand him the ball more, he could have had the greatest rushing game of all time. Meanwhile, next week, there are 4 thrilling games. 2 incredible offenses meet from Foxborough, Chiefs and Patriots. Lions and Cowboys, first playoff meeting all time. Dolphins and Steelers, 2 great defenses meet. Steel Curtain and the no-name defense. And the Packers won a thriller 27-24 against the 49ers earlier this year. Here's a look at the complete playoff bracket. I don't know who all is doing a simulation to determine the greatest dynasty of all time, but Charger Dude 95 is doing it, and we're down to the Elite Eights in the DSFL 6. The game of the week for next week should be the matchup between the Niners and Packers. We'll look at that in a second. Chiefs are still out their star tackle Mitchell Schwartz. Eric Williams, Ronald Donaldson, and also Fred Strickland is out for the Cowboys, and Keith Fonhorst, Wendell Tyler out, but Charles Haley returns for the 49ers. In the rematch of Week 9 between the 49ers and the Packers, both teams had a slow start to the season, but they met in what was a consequential regular season game. The Packers got off to an incredible start in the game, nearly 250 yards going into the half for Green Bay. But the 49ers, to their credit, they came back in the second half of this contest and made it a game, even though the Packers would wind up winning. The divisional round, Chiefs at Patriots, Dolphins at Steelers, Lions at Cowboys, and the Packers visit these 49ers. That's your 4 divisional games. This is the simulation to determine the greatest dynasty in NFL history, and it all comes down to this. Thank you for being a part of what has been a thrilling year so far. The DSFL 6 with Charger Dude 95 continues next Sunday. Good night.